Right. Well, we are here for the fourth time now at IoT Asia. Very happy to be here. It's a central event for us here in Asia Pacific, and we feel that this is something which is helping us to get the message out there that IoT is now really upon us. Actually, right? It's not a concept anymore like at the first IoT Asia. I remember 4 years ago. Nowadays, it's really here, and that is what we presented also today. Some real-life examples of how the IoT is making an impact and is generating additional business. Well, everybody was saying from the beginning that nobody can do IoT alone, right? I think what we see now is that these ecosystems are becoming real. They're filled with life. People are starting to work together. You just spoke to a colleague from GE, for example. We announced the partnership with GE last year. We are now actively working together in test beds. We are actively interconnecting our platforms. And so in that regard, there's real life out there where these ecosystems now are crossing the theoretical boundaries, so to say, and becoming practical for all fits and purposes. I think the collaborative portion, that's really what I feel now is changing, right? We had a lot of talks before in the past about technology and things like that. And I think by now the technology is not the issue anymore, right? The issue is about how do we actually bring that to our clients, how do we generate real value out of it? And that has definitely changed. Now we have examples out there, we have actual projects in the field, whether it's in agriculture, in the energy domain, in manufacturing, in the automotive domain, and they're working and they are really delivering value to consumers out there, to industrial customers and so on, right? And I think that's the real change. It is now it's really there, right? It's not a concept anymore. Well, you know, also there, technologies are around. There are a lot of security mechanisms which are available to secure assets and secure the IoT to the maximum extent. Now, of course, nothing is 100% in this world, right? But we can do a lot actually to secure them and to lock them down so that nobody can necessarily intrude on the data which is there behind. It obviously is a balance between what is practical. How much do you want to secure a smart home, for example, right? How much do you want to allow other people on the other side to join in certain communities? As soon as you open the space to other people, there's a certain kind of risk actually involved. And we have to decide, not in terms of the technology is there, but how much are we comfortable to share? How much do we want to involve the larger community instead of being on our own, actually, right? And I think that's really more the question. It's more a question of personal comfort, and then we can do the technology stuff in the back, actually, right? But I wouldn't worry about that too much because I think the mechanisms are there in principle. Disruption is not about technology. Honestly, technology is always a facilitator only. But what you see and where disruption really plays a role is where there's step change, right? Between change and disruption, there's a difference in terms of that it's a sudden and drastic kind of change, right? But that is never caused by technology alone, it's caused by the application of it. And if you look at, for example, what's happening in the car sharing space, the technology used there is actually not that new, right? This is all fairly simple stuff in comparison, right? Not to take anything away from the guys who are doing it, but this is about IT technologies which have been around for a long time, but they're applied differently now, right? And there are new ideas how to shape the business model, how to shape actually the way how the user experiences the service, right? And that is really driving the disruption, right? Not the technology itself. Technology, of course, we can always claim that this is the next thing since sliced bread and so on, but ultimately it's about the way how we are applying it, right? And I think that is what's driving disruption ultimately. Well, if you look into the future, we see a couple of themes coming up, and I talked about it in my presentation today too. We see new technologies coming up, right? We are talking about blockchain. How can we apply blockchain to actually facilitate transactions? Not only the connectivity and so on, but really the next level above that, smart contracts and things like that, which really help us then to deliver additional value, right? Artificial intelligence is another topic, right? We talk about machine learning, deep learning, etc. And artificial intelligence is now starting to become practical. We just announced 2 weeks ago at our Bosch Connected World in Berlin also a cooperation with NVIDIA, putting an AI computer into cars, right? Which will allow us then ultimately to facilitate autonomous driving. And this was a pipe dream maybe a couple of years ago. We didn't have the power, neither in terms of the AI intelligence and the algorithms, nor in terms of the computing power, to put this into assets. Now we see that this is becoming practical. Right. So in a couple of years down the road, we will have artificial intelligence on the devices, which we'll manage through IoT technologies. But these devices are becoming a lot more intelligent, making decisions about what to do, how to actually behave, and so on, right? These kind of things. So I think that's going to be one of the next exciting steps which we're going to see.